Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Jason here with a more info dump on the future of Planet Crafter. So I've been addicted to it. A lot of people in the community, like Beeblebum, Survival Bob, everyone's been playing this game, and that is really, really awesome. So what I want to try to cover in this video is the plans for the future that they put out. So they actually have a roadmap that they put out for us. So if you haven't seen that, there's a link to it down below in the description if you want to read it for yourself. I'm going to go over some of the notes on it that I think are really important, but you might find something more in-depth that you want to read about in the notes. But let's jump into the notes as I see them, and it's really, really good news. I am enjoying this game, and it sounds like it's going to get even better in the future. So right off the bat, they just say, hello, terraformers. Today, we want to share with you what we have in mind for the future of the game, Planet Crafter. What the game will and won't be. We are dedicated to bringing our vision to life, and even though the early access launch was a great success for us, we are determined to complete the game and give players a 1.0 within a reasonable time period. So they're wanting to get this thing up to 1.0. Right now, it's at version 0.4. So when they get to 1.0, it's going to be amazing. Anyway. Do something simple, do it well. One of our main objectives is to respect people who trusted us by purchasing the game in early access. We want to prove early access can work, rewarding people who supported our studio. We don't want to overpromise without delivering, and we know that we are capable of and what we are not. So we won't make big promises that we won't keep. We want to do something simple, but do it very well. So this is not going to be some gigantic, expansive game that, oh, it's going to be done. Like, it's not going to be, not to bash it, but it's not going to be Star Citizen. You're not going to be developing this for the next 10 or 20 years. At least that's the impression. They just want to make it a simple game that is really fun and everyone's going to enjoy. The team will remain fairly small, and the scope of the game won't become too crazy. The price will reflect this by staying relatively low. If you follow the development of the early release of early access, you know this allowed us to create great content fairly quickly while listening to the community feedback. Now, these are the big points right here. Our vision for the game. We are thrilled that the game received an incredible rating of 95% overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, meaning that you, the players, are really understanding what we are doing with the game. Let's just say that if you like the game already, you'll get even more when it reaches 1.0. That's the reason we shared the demo with more than 3 hours of content, so players can know if the game is for them or not. Exactly. So if you don't want to fully buy it, go play the demo, and I really think you're going to love it. Anyway, what we want the final game to be. This is going to be their idea of what the game is going to be when it fully releases 1.0 when it's done. A 30 to 60 hour relaxing experience about terraforming a planet, where players see it evolve while exploring a big map, discovering secrets and the story of the planet, taking inspiration in real science but without being hyper realistic, with replayability options for people who want to enjoy it multiple times. So they want to make something that's 30 to 60 hours of just terraforming the planet. I will tell you right now, I'm at about 20 hours right now in my main save, and I'm still working at terraforming the planet. So, I mean, realistically, they're already almost at the 30-hour mark already, and if they add more content to it, it's just going to make it, a longer, more fun experience, I think. So that sounds like a really good plan. I like that. Updates. We will regularly add updates during the early access period. We don't have an exact plan to share yet, but here is what's guaranteed to be in the final version. So this is what they are going to put in the final version. They just don't know when it's going to happen. They don't have an exact time frame for all of these updates. There's going to be a way bigger map, at least 50% bigger. So it's going to be even bigger than it is now, which is a pretty big map. They're going to add one vehicle. So there's going to be a vehicle. That way you can actually go through and find all of the locations without having to worry about your air. A complete story arc and some procedural story elements. So there's going to be more story added. Terraforming stages. There's going to be breathable atmosphere. insects, fishes, and amphibians. So that's awesome. They're going to actually add in, because right now I'm on the insect phase myself, but there's no insects that appear in the game. It's in early access. They're going to add in insect, fishes, and amphibians, little lizards. More environmental threats, replayability options, and quality of life elements and optimization. So basically it's going to stay the same. They're just going to add more content there. So right now you start out with just nothing, and you want to get air, and then you want to get water, and then you want to get trees. And so there are different breathable terraforming stages. They're going to add in breathable atmosphere, insects, fishes, amphibian. It's going to be awesome. More environmental threats. That sounds really good too. For each update, we will add a new technology, special events, increase the map size, and add secrets. Of course, we have other surprises in our sleeves and won't spoil everything here. So every update is going to add a little bit more technology, add some special events, increase the map size just a little bit, add secrets and other things every update. That's pretty cool. That sounds really awesome. But then this is what if you're expecting this game to have certain things, they want to tell you right off the bat, this will not be in the game. So what won't be in the game right here. As we are a small indie studio, we won't make the next AAA game. So some things, as previously said, will never be in this game. Big monsters and aliens, guns, fighting, and violence. So there's not going to be any combat. There's not going to be any big monsters and aliens in this game. Not at all. Interplanetary roaming, spaceship piloting. So you're not going to get a spaceship to fly to a different planet. It's not going to be No Man's Sky. You're always going to be on this planet. They're going to add to the planet. There's going to be different areas, but you're always going to be set in this area. Really complex systems and completely accurate science. Of course, I wouldn't expect it in any game because it gets a little crazy if you want it to be fully realistic. Realistic and next-gen graphics. So they're probably not going to add really, really intense graphics. They might, upgrade the textures and things like that, but they're not going to put in realistic and next-gen graphics. That's not going to happen. So if you're expecting any of those things, big monsters and aliens or combat, interplanetary, traveling to different planets, that's not going to be in this game. They never plan to make that. So that's something to keep in mind. If that's what you want in this game when they start adding more updates to it, never going to happen. Those things are not. Multiplayer and procedural maps. This is important because I really want multiplayer. Even though we know a lot of people want to play Planet Crafter with friends, making a multiplayer game can bring a lot of bugs, instabilities, and greatly decreases the overall gameplay. We first want to make sure this single-player experience is perfect before committing to anything else. If it happens, it will be after final release. So, it is not going to happen anytime soon. We're not going to get multiplayer anytime soon, if at all. They're thinking about it sounds like they want to do it, but it's going to add so many problems and issues that they just want to focus on putting content in rather than adding in a multiplayer. So multiplayer is not going to happen anytime soon. So keep that in mind. The same is true for procedural generation of the map. We will stick to a handmade map, allowing us to pace the experience of the players, their discoveries, and keep the map interesting while including the different terraforming stages with great detail. So they want actual, it's not procedurally generated at all. So they have everything is where it's at. It's always going to be there because they want to control how you progress and how the story moves along. And you can't really do that if it's procedurally generated. You probably could. No Man's Sky does that, but it's kind of clunky. And because they're such a small studio, they probably don't even want to deal with that. They're like, look, it's probably possible, but look, we're not even doing that until way later, if at all. If it even happens, not happening until way after it's done. After the 1.0 launch, once our vision for 1.0 is done, once the final game basically is done, we will come back to you with a new plan. We are confident that we'll keep adding content to the game after the 1.0 release, and with the help of the community, we will make it a new roadmap. Our goal is to release the 1.0 fairly quickly, between 1 and 2 years from now, releasing at least one update every 2 to 3 months. So that is a huge deal. We will get an update at least every 2 to 3 months. Every couple of months, 2 to 3 months, we will get some form of an update, and they want to be completely finished with the game within 1 to 2 years. I'm going to say 2 years. They want to be completely done. The game is finished. It's 1.0, and then they'll think about adding multiplayer and things like that, but all the content will be in the game itself. That is really cool. You can expect a big update before the end of May and several small patches until then. So they will continue to do patches on, fixing bugs in the game and things like that, issues in the game, but there's going to be a big update before the end of May, which is in about a month. So they have within the next month or so, they will do, or the next month and a half, before the end of May, I'll just say that, before the end of May, they will have another update or an update, and it's going to be a pretty big update. So I am so excited for this game. There is so much there. Hopefully you guys are excited too, and if you're on PC, go give it a try. Try out the demo first, and if you don't like the demo, that's fine. I think you're going to like the demo. If you love Subnautica, if you love No Man's Sky, this has a little bit of both. It's more relaxing, more calm. There's not enemies, and they don't ever plan to put enemies in there, so you're not fighting animals or anything like that. It's all about just making a beautiful planet out of a wasteland, terrible planet. You land on it, it's just a wasteland, it's terrible, but you turn it into something beautiful, and that is awesome. It's a relaxing game. I can't stop playing it. I've been playing it for over a week now. I have almost 30 hours into it, and it is just amazing. About 20 hours in my main save. And of course, because I'm not streaming all the time, I want to play it on the side, so I have multiple different saves going. It is so much fun. Hopefully you guys liked the video. If you did, hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time.